unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Tszyu destroys Carlos Ocampo. It was a first round knockout. Jermell Charlo should be next. That's what I want to talk about in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Australia. Last night, Tszyu did a good thing. He knocked out Carlos Ocampo, which was considered to be a potentially tough task for him. Carlos Ocampo definitely looked bigger than him in the build-up and at the face-off and the weigh-in, and even in the ring. He was unfortunately no match for Tszyu. Tszyu really blasted him, landed a sequence of shots. I think it was a big right hand that set everything up. And I mean, from that point, Ocampo looked like crazy legs. His legs looked like they were all over the place. He almost seemed frantic, like he had never been in a fight or like he was drunk or something. And, you know, he was turning his back, turning his head, attempting to like evade and run. I mean, it was ugly and sloppy ever since that shot. So he got dropped with the big right hand, and then after, his legs were like noodles, and he was trying to counter. But I mean, it's hard to throw a power shot when you have absolutely no legs. So horrific night for Ocampo in the office. He might have to consider hanging him up. 3 times he stepped up and fought big names, and 3 times he has been beaten, twice in the first round. The first was by Errol Spence, which we'll get to. The other fight, he went 12 with Sebastian Fundora. So all in all, it was an impressive performance from Tszyu, just given the fact of, you know, Ocampo was considered to give him potentially some issues, and he destroyed him and made it non-competitive. So congratulations to Tszyu, and it looks like Jermell Charlo is next, which leads me to this thought. Listen, boxing, I've been in the game for so long, it's nothing new to me, but it just gets old after a while. And that's boxers or boxing fans are prisoners of the moment. They'll let like singular performances dictate all of their thinking for the near future. Now, there's a time and a place where if somebody's perpetually stinking up the joint and putting up bad performances, okay, that could be something to judge them from. But, you know, sometimes fighters have off nights. Sometimes fighters have really good nights. But I think all in all, boxing fans, they just don't know ish about boxing. And that's word to Roger Mayweather, rest in peace. They tend to inflate certain performances and things like that, and they don't even keep it consistent. For example, I personally was at Errol Spence as credential media, Errol Spence versus his then mandatory Carlos Ocampo. I was at that fight. It was at the Frisco at the Star when they were building Errol Spence in America and, you know, readying him for pay-per-view in his bigger fights that would later come. So that fight was at Frisco at the Star instead of AT&T Stadium, and I was at that fight, right? So I went to Texas for that fight, and people were leaving, old media was leaving comments on my video like, why'd you go to this fight? And Ocampo's a bum, and you're wasting your time. What a waste of a fight. Errol Spence is a cherry picker. These were the types of comments that some of you guys were leaving on my page at that specific time. Not taking into consideration that Errol Spence went to Sheffield to fight, so basically, realistically, Kell Brook and knocked him out at home in front of 20,000 plus, not capturing the fact that Errol Spence beat Lamont Peterson, and not even taking into consideration the fact that Ocampo was the mandatory. So he had to fight him as the IBF champion at that time. That was the only belt he had at that given time, and he had to fight Ocampo. So people didn't factor any of these things. The only thing that old media was saying was Carlos Ocampo, who is he? He's a bum. Errol Spence is a cherry picker. PBC's putting on mismatches, yada, yada, yada. So I find it very funny that years later, two non-black fighters can face the same guy, Ocampo, and that's Sebastian Fundora, who beat him over the course of 12 rounds, and now Tszyu, who destroyed him, just like Errol Spence, but, you know, all knockout in a higher weight class than Errol Spence fought him, and he destroyed him in 1 round 5 years after Errol Spence, and everybody is now changing their mind and saying, oh, Jermell Charlo gets knocked out, and I'm seeing people say that Charlo doesn't stand a chance now, just off of this one performance. But this is the same guy that when Errol Spence fought him, nobody really gave Errol Spence credit for the Ocampo win. And Errol Spence fought him when he was at his more natural weight, which is 147, and more importantly, when he was undefeated. So I just find it funny how people pick and choose to suit their narratives in the world of boxing. Errol Spence fights the same guy when he's undefeated and a mandatory. He's no good. A million hateful comments. 4 or 5 years later, you have a guy like Fundora who beats him. No complaints. You have a guy like Tszyu that drills him. No complaints. So what I do on my channel, I don't care if you like it, if you hate it. It don't matter to me. At the end of the day, I give you guys the real, and that's the reality on the performance. Again, Tszyu, he was impressive. He showed he has power just like his pops. He did his thing. So he didn't really do this. I'm talking about the fans. I'm talking about media who gave Errol Spence no credit. So I have no bad words to say about Tszyu. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Hometown fights where you should be the favorite. And unlike George Kambosos versus Devin Haney, you're putting on impressive performances and securing the victory, staying undefeated, unlike Kambosos. So again, Tszyu, he looks to be the goods. Another thing that I predicted, the great Ego Stradamus strikes again, is the mere fact that when the fight was canceled with Charlo in January, I told you it was a good thing. Not good that Charlo got injured, but it was just good in the sense that it allowed Tszyu time to work on his resume and to continue try to build some sharp performances to ready people for a Charlo fight. Because the Tank fought Hector Luis Garcia in January, and at the end of the month, it was supposed to be Charlo versus Tszyu. He would have been coming off the Terrell Goucher performance, and he was dropped in the first round of that particular performance. So had the fight went off when it was supposed to in January, then I don't know how many people would have believed that Charlo should not win this fight. But now with these 2 hometown emphatic victories, both by knockout over Tony Harrison and also over Ocampo, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it now gives people belief. Now me, it doesn't really change anything. I'm still picking Charlo. Skills pay the bills. His jab, I think, is going to be a problem, but Charlo has to be on his P's and Q's against a guy like Tszyu. But ultimately, fundamentally, Charlo is the better fighter, sharper fighter with bigger fight experience, and the fight is not going to be taking place in Australia. I know that for a fact. Charlo even said that in a recent interview. So a lot of the hometown crowd and the comfortability, all that's going to be gone because you're going to probably have to fight Charlo in Vegas or maybe LA or somewhere like that. And again, I think Charlo's just the sharper fighter. He's not Ocampo. He's not going to just go in there and get blasted. He has a defense, he has fundamentals, he has a jab, and he has big fight experience. And he has one loss, but it's the debatable loss to Tony Harrison. So all in all, Ego Stradamus strikes again. I told you that as time went on and Tim worked on his resume, it would only grow bigger because now you have people who at least have the belief that they might not have had if they fought in January, that Tszyu can do something with Charlo, because I've seen it. Like I said earlier in this video, a lot of boxing fans are prisoners of the moment. So that makes for a bigger fight than it would have been in January because Tszyu doing very well for himself. He's showing shades of his father. So now people are thinking that, maybe he can beat Jermell Charlo, which I really don't think they would have accepted that or thought that, because again, he would have been coming off the Terrell Goucher performances. But after 2 strong performances over Harrison and Ocampo, maybe people reconsider or believe that Tszyu is learning on the job. He's young and he's just getting better and he's closing that gap. I still feel the same. I think it's Charlo all the way, but I want to give you guys my thoughts. Tszyu, congratulations. I'm looking forward to the Charlo fight. Another thing, wild card with this particular fight is he's coming off a hand injury. So anytime anyone's off an injury, that adds a different enigma that wouldn't be present. So Tszyu being a dangerous guy, you can't afford to have any kind of relapses or, re-aggravate or re-injure your hand, because then you'd be like Tank Davis versus Aesop Pitbull Cruz and have to battle a rugged, tough fighter with power with one hand. And that's typically not a situation you want to be in. So I think the fight just became more interesting with Charlo and Tszyu. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Best in the business. Introducing Super Thanks. Right here on the official Boxingego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with the $sign in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a super thanks. A brand new, interactive, and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.